7 ways to lose it fast. In fact, we're going to give you 12 ways to lose it fast, not just 7. So what exactly you will learn today are the following. First of all, what even is belly fat? Second of all, why belly fat is actually dangerous to be carrying around. The third thing you're going to learn are 7 main causes of belly fat. And the last thing you're going to be left with is 12, not 7, but 12 easy ways to actually get rid of the belly fat for good this time.
Solutions.
Yes, we like those. I want to start by giving you some, first of all, hope, because you may be struggling with the belly fat for a number of years, maybe even decades, and it's just not coming off. Well, I want to share with you that just one example of someone who came to me, and he really was, his name was David, and he came to me full of all sorts of conditions with a lot of belly fat, okay? In fact, he came to me with lipoma, which is actually little pockets of fat with just underneath your skin all over the body, high blood pressure, hives, he couldn't figure out the cause of the hives, and also a pretty severe digestive disorder. He was on multiple medications, and he was at his wit's end. So anyways, he came to me looking to lose weight because he thought that if he dropped the belly fat and lost the weight, other things would start to normalize as well. And he was right. Congratulations, David. He actually went from 300 pounds, came to me, he was 300 pounds, and he wasn't even that old. He was actually quite young, and he dropped over 60 pounds, okay? And he's kept it off for 2 years now. So listen, if David can do it, so can you. And the cool part is you're going to learn exactly how today. Yeah. So let's get started, shall we? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about what even is this thing around our waistline that we don't want. This belly fat. What even is it? Well, it actually is some, it's actually, you're carrying around energy around your belly fat. That's stored energy. And there's actually 2 types of this stored energy called belly fat. One of them is fat just under your skin. And it's actually identified as subcutaneous. So just below the skin, you've got this extra layer of fat, okay? Some of this fat can actually be found, you may find them like by your triceps, like on your arms, some of it on your legs. And what it does is actually we need some of this fat. It's not like all fat is bad. We actually need it. Why? Because it is going to, if you fall, it's going to add protection. Like for me, when I fell on my wrist, oh my gosh, and I broke my wrist. Thank God I had some fat on me. Otherwise I would break everything. Really, it's which was, yeah. So we want it to add cushion for a fall. Okay. It also helps to regulate your body temperature. So, if it's hot, you get cool. If it's cool, you get hot. So basically it actually gives you warmth. The other thing it does is give you stored energy in case you can't eat for a while. You actually can break down your fat and use it as energy until you find some food source. Okay, so it's actually really, really important. So we've got this type of fat. We also have other type of fat, and it's actually called visceral fat or organ fat or deep fat. I've heard it called deep fat or omentum fat. What else have you heard it identified as?
Just good old belly fat.
Belly fat. Okay.
Yeah.
So this type of fat is in a different place in the body. It's actually surrounding your organ. You've basically grown another organ. You really have. And it's located on the other side of the abdominal muscles. And it collects around your abdominal organ. So it's like you're growing an organ over your organs. And this is mainly actually where the belly fat is. Okay. And too much of the visceral fat, you're going to find out, is actually very problematic. So it's the deep fat that's the most problematic, most dangerous is the deep fat. But I do need you to know that there are 2 different types of fat, okay?
So when people, and generally men, have that beer belly, it's hard on the outside and they're so proud of it. They're pounding their bellies about how proud they are of how many beers I guess they've had to drink to be able to get that belly. But it's fat that's on the inside of the body. That's why you can't pinch the fat on the outside. It's like a hard, because it's fat from the inside that's pushing against the against the skin to the outside. So very, very unhealthy.
I've actually seen that. Yeah, you see people walking around. It's hard. They have hard bellies,
Yeah, it's like,
but there's a ton of fat inside.
yeah, on the inside.
That's the dangerous one. Okay. So let's talk about like why is belly fat so dangerous? What is it linked to? So here we know aesthetically it may not be something you want to look at, but actually it's a health risk. It's a serious health risk. That's the thing. So we pulled out some studies from the Harvard Health Publishing, and these are recent studies, just April 12th of last year. Okay. So here is what they discovered. Excess belly fat can increase the risk of like a heart attack. Okay, so that means death.
It's serious.
It's very serious.
Yeah.
Heart disease. Who wants to be in the hospital for all that time or on medication?
Yeah.
Okay. High blood pressure. Okay, that's something to be worried about walking around with high blood pressure, right? Stroke, something like stroke. Okay. Type 2 diabetes. So that's also not something you want to be walking around with. Okay. Asthma. Okay. What happens when, there's smoke in the air? I know with Kelowna, sometimes they've had those fires.
Yeah.
Those with asthma really suffered badly.
Yeah.
Okay. Breast cancer. I mean, that could be dangerous because that could lead to other types of cancer, right? Colon cancer would be another example. And then dementia, like you're literally losing your mind. Okay. So these are pretty serious. All right. And as we talked about earlier, the most concerning fat isn't just the one below the skin. It's actually the deep fat. Okay. So this belly fat, deep fat that increases your waistline is why it's so dangerous is because you've grown another organ that actually releases toxins. These are poisons. The body's trying to get rid of what it's growing. It literally is releasing these toxins. And these toxins enter into your bloodstream like a highway. And eventually the highway finds its way to your coronary arteries. Okay. So then what happens is these toxins then promote what we hear about all the time. What is it? Inflammation. So basically you're walking around like a time bomb. Really, you're walking around with chronic inflammation. Okay. So your body's always on fire all the time. And so what happens is because it's always on fire, it promotes this calcification, which then can result in heart attack. Okay. What are we talking about? Okay. So then not only that, with this inflammation, it actually can travel not into the liver, which then leads to fatty liver, which then leads to more metabolic imbalances, which then leads to diabetes and all these things. All right. Which I see a lot of in my clinic. This is something really to be concerned about. All right. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't like to be a talking head, I am going to open up the lines to questioning. Okay. Listening to see if you guys are listening. So the question I'm going to present to you right now is, what do you think causes belly fat? What do you think causes belly fat? So I'm going to leave that in your hands for a minute, and I'm going to open up the lines to look at everyone. Everyone's chiming on. Reese, you're a lucky charm here. You got everyone chiming on. So the question I have is, and hey everyone, the question I have is, why do you think so many people are walking around with all of this, like the tire around the middle? Why is that happening? What do you believe? So I'd love to hear you. Just comment. Send us a comment. Let me know what you think.
We're seeing some cool weather in Iowa, 28 degrees in the US. That's Chilly Willy. 61, 62.
Hey, Tamara.
Not too bad.
Tamara's on the line. I'd like to see you there, girl. That's awesome that you're here. I'm going to guess that Larry's on the line as well from Iowa, maybe. If it is, let me know it's you, Larry. If not, who is calling from Iowa? And we've got Kathy. All right, Kathy did make it. So Kathy's on the line, 62 degrees. So we've got some answers popping in. And so Tamara was the first to put up her hand, which is awesome. Eating too much wrong stuff. Yeah.
Definitely.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. It's the first thing that came to mind. Yeah. Okay, what other, if it wasn't just diet, what else do you think is causing the belly fat? Rona, you can pop on too, because I know you're on the line. You can unmute yourself and give an answer. Anyone else have any answers to the question, why are so many people walking around with excess belly fat? More than ever. So Rona had given an answer, and she's saying too much sugar consumption.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's eating too much and too much of the wrong stuff.
And then we have another, Tamara came up with another idea, and that is our livers and organs aren't working well. Now, the question I have to you is, why aren't they working well? What's plugging it up? So we have another answer here, and that's excess calories, especially sugar, turned to fat by the liver. Good job. Awesome. We've got a smart cookie here. You're all smart. You're all coming up with some good stuff. So why aren't the liver and organs working well? Excess calories, yep. Toxicity too. That's the other thing. The elephant in the room. Yes, there she goes. I was hoping someone would come up with that. Way to go, Tamara. Yes, toxins. The elephant in the room that we do a lot of clearing out, don't we? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share the 7 most primary reasons why we are carrying belly fat. Let's start with that, shall we? Okay. Yes, we go back here, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go here. Okay. Good answers. Okay, so we're going to talk about really why we're carrying around this body fat. Well, we know that there's 7 most common causes of belly fat. The first one is, like you all identified, is poor diet. So if you look to the right here, how many people see others kind of eating this way? It's almost like common now, more common than I've ever seen before. This types of food-like substances. Just so you know, this is not food. This is food-like substances. This isn't what's grown in your environment, is it? This isn't what our ancestors ate, was it? No.
If you left that on the table for a month, it would probably look the same way.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. And so what happens is when we eat these type of food-like substances, your genes are not expecting it. It's like, what? What is that coming into my body? And then what happens is there's an alarm that comes off, and that's called inflammation. And then it brings up the troops, which is the defense system, your immune system, and it tackles it like it's an invader. And that's where you walk around with this like chronic inflammation, okay? And so that's what leads to this belly fat, right? The body is under stress, okay? So that's one. Now let's move on to the second one. Unfortunately, I'm the bearer of bad news sometimes, but remember, I'm just the messenger. Too much alcohol. I think a little bit's okay. Well, it is, depending on the person, of course. But really, there is you can overdo it. And so we need to treat alcohol like it is. It's a sugar. When you consume alcohol, that was strange. Yep. When you consume alcohol, it actually is it's like a sugar to the body, okay? And the body, because it's like an alarm again, the body goes, oh my gosh, there's something coming in that we need to get rid of really quickly. And so again, the inflammation goes up. And one of your fat storing hormones, this is very hormonal, called insulin, gets released very, very quickly, and to try and get rid of this sugar that's traveling around the bloodstream, because that is actually dangerous to the body, and the body's doing everything it can to be healthy. So it will actually escort it out of the body, and where it goes, it gets stored as belly fat. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anything you want to comment there?
Not on that one, no.
Okay. We go to number 3 now. This would be something that most of us know, is if we're carrying around too much fat, we're actually not exercising enough. We're not moving enough. Okay, so we know movement really helps our bodies. How would you comment on this lack of exercise piece and the belly fat?
There's a couple things. If you don't use it, you lose it. So there's the muscles that are involved in exercise and building lean muscle tissue, which becomes your metabolic engine to burn and keep calories off. But also the fact that you're moving lymph tissue or fluid and so forth in the body to be able get rid of toxins, and then to also, by exercising, you're raising your metabolism by just the virtue of doing something, and burning additional calories as well. So part of it's calories in, calories out, but there's lots of benefits to exercise.
Okay, so I love that you said that about calories in, calories out, because actually it is kind of true. That is part of the picture. So if you're not exercising and you're eating more energy than your body needs, your body will store the energy and it's stored as belly fat. It's kind of like that, right? So we all need to move. Like, what did our ancestors do? Always go back to that. Okay. They moved, right? And they lifted heavy things once in a while. So just go back to what they did because they were healthy. Let's go to number 4. Well, we all know about stress, and we're living in an epidemic of stress. And where I believe what we're seeing, where the stress is coming from, is fear of the unknown, fear of the future. Okay. Because we went through like a huge dismantle of so many different organizations. I mean, it just turned its head, right? And so a lot of people were stressed. What is going to happen with the future? I think that was a big cause. Not only that, we were hunkering down in our homes. We weren't able to even leave our house. Okay. So when you're under stress, you can't leave your house. What happens? What do most people do?
Eat.
Exactly.
Or drink.
Or drink. Exactly. And are they exercising?
Not as much as they could or should, because they're not getting outside in some cases because they're locked down.
Exactly. Okay. So here we saw an epidemic of obesity as soon as, the pandemic hit, right? A couple of years ago. So stress is going to be a factor as well. Not only that, I do want to comment about stress. When you're under stress and you seem to accumulate more belly fat than usual, it's because you actually have more cortisol receptor sites sitting around your midsection than any other place. That's why you may notice that, gee, when I'm under stress, I seem to actually collect even more belly fat. The belly fat, I didn't say, hip fat, I said belly fat. It's because of where the hormones, it's because it's so hormonal.
Well, it's so hormonal to the point that fat becomes an estrogen producing engine. And so women tend to have higher estrogen than men have, and men have higher testosterone typically than women have, although today's day and age, it's a little bit questionable. But what that does is it gives a nice smooth appearance, the estrogen does, to the outside of the body, whereas more testosterone is going to be more muscular and so forth. So we now have created this massive hormone producing fat as well, which produces excess estrogens.
That's actually true. Good point. So much of this is hormonal. So what I'm going to do is, before I get into number 5, I'm actually going to stop this share to see if there's any questions so far. Okay? Because we actually just covered a whole bunch of information, and maybe you've started thinking about some questions already. So we'd love to hear what the questions are, or even comments about what we've just discussed. Anyone have any? Like I said, I'm not a talking head. I want to hear from you guys too. Comments, questions about the causes of belly fat thus far? No, not
And
yet.
if not, we'll carry on. Okay,
let's carry on then. So here we go. We're going to go to number 5 now, okay? Okay, so number 5. Well, did I miss one? Oh, I did. Okay. Anyway, we're going to go to 6. So 6 is poor sleep. Okay. So another reason why we're carrying too much of this belly fat is poor sleep. And the correlation between, if I'm just going to put my cursor here, how often do you see yourself or your loved one, and you're finding yourself on your electronics just before bed? How common is this now? I really believe it's common because it's so addictive, this device. I don't know about you, but I really do. I set timers, and I literally look at the time and go, that's it, I'm done. And I put my phone to bed. I have phone beds, and we always put the phone to bed, an hour or 2 hours before bed or at the dinner table. Those are the 2 times that we usually do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. And then I really believe that we all need to think about doing some digital detox, okay? Because the reason for that means getting away from these electronics. The reason for that is every time you look at this screen, okay, you're sending a light signal into your eyeballs. It actually talks to a certain part of your brain that tells the body what time of day it is, okay? So every time you look at a screen, the body thinks it's 12 o'clock during the day. It really does. And so that's why if you're looking at a screen just before bed, you're telling your body, oh, it's not bedtime. No, it's 12 o'clock during the day. Get up and have some lunch. That's what you're telling the body, literally. So you wonder why you can't sleep, and you wonder why you get up in the middle of the night and actually eat. It's because of the electronic, okay? And so I hope that this maybe made sense to somebody who keeps doing this and wondering why they can't sleep. Or they get up in the middle of the night and eat.
And it's important for us to be an example for our children and our grandchildren as well. If they see us not using the phone properly, then they're more apt to not use the phone properly as well. So be a good example for them.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That was so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so poor sleep. So here we are, we're not sleeping through the night. Well, how does that actually relate to belly fat? Well, the one instance could be you're eating in the middle of the night, because we know that if you do that, that's going to lead to belly fat, right? Because as soon as you eat, you have energy to expel. Well, you're laying flatlined. So it's just going to accumulate as fat. Okay, the second thing is, if you're having poor sleep, you're actually not able to tap into your fat burning hormones. This is the time to burn the belly fat. I'm just letting you know the floodgates open to go, okay, let's break down this fat and expel it as respiratory. So you actually breathe out your fat. Did you know that? I was going to leave that as a question. Where does your fat go? You breathe it out. You actually expel it out from your breath. Isn't that amazing? And so, but when you're sleeping flatline through the night, you're burning fat and you're actually breathing it out through the night. But if you don't have good sleep, you're missing this like most important window, all right, of burning fat when you sleep. Anything you want to add to that? It's really true.
Really, it's just a detox period, and that's why intermittent fasting works so well, because you extend that period of time that you're not taking in food to be able to throw off toxins in the body.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, so that may have opened up some questions for other people. We're going to keep moving forward. So number 7. Okay, this is something I hear of all the time. It's what you just alluded to just now, Reese, is we're not allowing ourselves to take breaks from eating. And if you're not, your body does not have a chance to do other things. All it's trying to do is always work to break down the foods that you've just eaten. Is trying to work through the foods you've just eaten. So you're never giving your body a chance to do other things. What is it? Cleanup control. It's like we call it autophagy. When it's cellular cleanup, no, it's trying to break down your foods all the time. Well, that's going to lead to a digestive nightmare, okay? Which then leads to the belly fat, because you're providing a lot of the body with inflammation. And, if you're going to eat just before bed, you're asking for belly fat, literally, because that's exactly where it's going to go.
And this picture here is a real bad example of it, getting up in the middle of the night and eating donuts by the looks of it. I don't imagine anybody's really doing that, but even if you're getting up and you're having something that you think is healthy, what you're doing is you're raising your blood sugar, and then the body looks at that and goes, oh, blood sugar's a little bit too high. I'm going to put out insulin, and insulin is a fat storage hormone. So that's why we like to take a little bit of a break from food. It starts to balance our hormones a little bit better.
And what I mean by nighttime snacking is sitting in front of the TV also and just eating popcorn. How many people do that? Or you know what? You've eaten your dinner and you just, maybe an hour or 2 hours later, you're like, I'm bored.
Gotta have a little snack.
Yeah, I'm bored. And it's not quite time for bed. I'm just going to eat. So I don't know if this holds true for you, but you're basically going to wear that around your midsection. You will. So what I'm going to do is, before I get into the 12 tips on how to get rid of this belly fat, I'm actually going to stop the share and see if you smart cookies are going to be asking any more questions while we move forward. Okay, so yes, it is Larry. Hey, Larry, good to see you. Hands are busy, but the ears are listening. Oh, that's great.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really good. So we've identified 7 = 6 causes of belly fat. And any comments, questions on that before we get into the solutions?
Solutions it is.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get to it then, shall we?
Let's.
Yes. All right. Now we're going to put it all in one slide. Just keep it easy. So we're going to give you 12 rapid fire. This is rapid fire. So get your pen and paper out. 12 tips to get rid of this visceral, well, belly fat. Okay. So the first #1 tip is we need to really be mindful of what we're putting in our bodies as far as food consumption. Okay. And the type of food. So the #1 tip I have to say that I see most frequently that leads to belly fat is way too many carbs. And it's not even your fault. This is not your fault. This is just the way society is now. Why? Because we're busy. We never used to be as busy as we are now. Both parents they're working, okay? And we're trying to kind of get by, right? And we have all these obligations, everything. And we tend to overbook ourselves just because we like to do a lot of stuff. I get it. So what does that lead to? That leads to quick, fast food. And what's the fast food? It's definitely not going to be something healthy like protein, because that takes, first of all, a while to prepare. And second of all, a while to eat. You need to chew that. It takes a while to chew that. But carbohydrates, oh, so easy.
Easy.
So easy. Yeah. So one good example would be, here's one I see all the time. If this is you, then I would shift it. Oatmeal first thing in the morning without anything else. I see this as that sounds so healthy. Your meal is only carbs. There's missing components to that. So every time you eat just carbs, guess what you're doing? It's a hormonal experience, like we were talking about insulin. So remember, you're sending the signal. When you eat food, you're telling the body to raise a hormone to be able to handle what you just ate. That hormone is called insulin. Insulin is our fat storage hormone. It's actually our nutrient storage hormone, but that's all you're doing is raising quickly an insulin, a fat storage hormone. So you're starting the day with belly fat, accumulating more, okay? So we need to really be mindful of keeping this more balanced. And this is exactly what we do, actually.
Think of it when you watch your friends having breakfast and they're having a cup of coffee with 5 tablespoons of sugar in it, which is sugar, with a glass of orange juice, which is sugar, with cereal, which is sugar, with sugar on it, which is sugar, with milk, which is sugar, with toast, which is sugar, with jam on it, which is sugar. And then they're wondering why they're having challenges, right? And feeling a little bit low later on during the day as the insulin hits and lowers their blood sugar rapidly. So.
And then what happens after that? What do they grab?
More carbohydrates, so they get a buzz again, or some more caffeine.
I was thinking the same thing, the caffeine. The other thing, I hope you heard, you listened in what Reese was saying, milk is a sugar. And milk does not do the body good, I have to say. Somebody who reversed osteoporosis, which is me. Milk is not something we're going to want to consume.
#2, be more active.
Okay, so that's the carbs. So #2 is we actually need to move our bodies. And here's the thing, maybe you're walking around with pain and you're really, you want to move, but you have pain. Well, you have pain because you have inflammation. So you need to basically know that you need to move. So figure out why you have the inflammation. I'm going to guess that the foods that you're eating is driving the inflammation. And so the first thing you want to do is put in food into your body that will actually be anti-inflammatory, that will put the fire out, that will allow your body to heal from the pain, because there are foods that cause pain and there's foods that derive pain. And boy, oh boy, when clients come to me, that's the first thing basically I do is make sure that their eating template is anti-inflammatory, that gets rid of the pain so that the body can heal. So when that happens, if they don't have pain, they're excited to get back into exercise, because actually most people love to move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we need to be more active, and you got to figure out, why aren't I more active? Oh, I have pain. Oh, maybe another reason is I'm not motivated. How often have you heard that?
Often.
Yeah. And so my answer to that is, if you don't do it now, how is it going to be in 5 years? It's going to get worse, letting you know, because we are meant to move. So I want you to think ahead. I want you to look at your future self. If you keep doing what you're doing, not moving, what is your future going to look like? What is the example to your kids? What is the example to your grandkids? Do you want to be active with your grandkids? Do you want to even take care of your grandkids? Is that important to you? Well, we need to start thinking about this now. Okay. So I need you to start thinking ahead. Number 3.
Eat more fiber. There's a couple different types of fiber. There's soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber acts like a little scrub brush on the inside, takes off literally all the old crap off the inside of the tube on the inside, and helps it pass through the liver and the bowels and everything, gets all those toxins out of the body. It also slows down the digestion time of carbohydrates and our proteins as well. So if we're mixing fiber in with our foods, that's why even though broccoli would be considered a carbohydrate or a sugar, if you chewed it enough, or a carrot, chewed it long enough, it will turn into sugar in your mouth. It'll taste very, very sweet. But the fiber in it helps to slow down the transit time of that energy going into the body. And so therefore it's a little bit less sugar so quickly.
Yes, and that's really good. And so just so you know, every time you eat, you're not just feeding your body cells. You're actually feeding other bacteria and other things in your body. And so the good bacteria, which is what you want to feed more of, they're called actually there's a species called Bacteroides, and it's a bacterial species in your body linked to lean people, linked to those that don't have belly fat. It's called Bacteroides, okay? And so what you want to do is you want to feed these suckers. You want to feed them as much as you can, because they're going to reward you with a flat tummy, with low belly, with actually even a six pack, okay? And so good fiber is going to feed those bacterial species, which will then grow, which will then crowd out the bad guys. Are actually called Firmicutes. Firmicutes are the ones that thrive on sugar and garbage food like substances. So the more that you eat fibrous foods, the more that you will grow the Bacteroides, the more that you will see the belly fat basically disappear. Okay. And I love that you said about the blood sugar balance. That's really, really important. Because again, if your blood sugar crashes, what do you grab? The stuff that feeds the bad guys, the Firmicutes, right? So do everything you can to start to increase the food fiber to feed the good bacteria. Okay, that's something not talked about enough. So the fourth one is we're going to eat more protein. Okay, and so protein, again, everything to do with belly fat, a lot has to do with the hormonal response. When you eat more protein, you are actually going to increase a hormone called glucagon. That's insulin's antagonist. And so every time you eat protein, you are telling the body to get stronger and burn fat instead of store fat. It's really that simple. That's why I said easy steps. Just literally eat more protein and eat less carbs. Okay. So with your protein, you're going to want to bring that up. And the other thing about protein is it's going to also stabilize the blood sugar. Okay. Again, if you do that, you won't be grabbing the sugar foods. You won't be you won't be tied to the fridge all the time. I just did a story on that. I do daily stories, and I talked about being tied to the fridge all the time. So if you eat more protein and less carbs and more fat, you will actually be able to stay away from that fridge for 4 to 5 hours, okay? Which is what you want. Number 5, eat less added sugar. And what I mean by that is anytime you're going to eat food or food-like substances out of a box, because we know real food, I would not be concerned about like food grown in your environment. What I mean by that is it grown on a tree? Is it grown, at the farm? If you go to the farmer's market, things that the farmers are growing, right? So they're not going to be growing things with a ton of added sugar. So, but if you look on the box and not the marketing on the front cover, but actually the ingredients, look at the ingredients. Are they adding more sugar? If they are, then say no, okay? Number 6, eat more probiotic foods. This is so important. Again, we talked about the different microbial species that are in your body. We want to grow the Bacteroides. If you eat probiotic type foods, you're going to grow the good guys and they will crowd out the bad guys. What are probiotic foods? I'm going to stop this to see if anyone knows what probiotic foods are, and then I'll get to number 7. So who knows what probiotic foods actually are?
Some examples.
Kefir, yogurt.
Kefir, yogurt, yeah.
So Rona's chiming in and saying kefir is a probiotic food and yogurt is a probiotic food. So I'm going to give you a little nuances on each. Yogurt. I see a lot of people thinking, and for good reason, I'm going to eat yogurt to get the good bacteria. Well, it depends on the quality of the yogurt. So if you're going to spend the time and the money to get yogurt, we want to get non-homogenized organic yogurt, ideally from cows that are grass-fed. I have to let you know that. If it's just yogurt from a fridge, at in the store, actually look to see what's really in there, because oftentimes I actually add sugar to it. And there's no probiotics in there at all. So quality matters. So thank you, Rona.
They call it a fruit, but it's like a fruit puree. It's like they stuck jam into your yogurt, right? It's pure sugar.
Yeah. And kefir, absolutely. Listen, if you're dairy intolerant, there's coconut kefir. Okay, so you can try that instead. So we have Tamara was offering up sauerkraut. Absolutely, girl. Awesome. Yeah, I just ordered mine today and it's coming my organic delivery, sauerkraut. Let's all have some sauerkraut. But there is a warning on sauerkraut. If you have IBS or SIBO, you don't want sauerkraut, because when you eat sauerkraut, there's a big battle that's going to go around in your tummy. There's going to be a fight. Okay, the good guys are going to start to crowd out the bad guys. But if you have already digestive issues, there's too many bad guys, they're going to win and you're going to feel like crap. You will. There'll be too big of an aftermath. And you'll notice it as instant diarrhea or disaster pants, I call it. You'll have gas and bloating. You actually will feel unwell. Okay. And it's not because sauerkraut's bad for you. No, it's because of the colony that you have growing. You've got more of the bad guys than the good guys. So hope is not lost. So what we do is we start to fix the digestive system with the right eating plan and a good detox. Okay. And then we can start to slowly put in the probiotic foods. I mean, slowly. Okay. And what I mean by slowly is the juice of the sauerkraut, not even the sauerkraut, the juice, and like a tiny like a quarter of a teaspoon. Yeah. So try that. And then, your body will tell you how it's working. Okay. And if you feel well, cool, have a little bit more juice. And so take it slow. You really need to take it slow. And then once things are working out with the juice, you're fine. Maybe after a week, then start with just a little bit of the vegetable. There's beet, there's cabbage, there's kimchi, my favorite. But anyways, so really go slow and don't give up. Just do that. And if anyone here needs help, I would love to help you with your digestive system. I love more than anything to do that. It's really fun for me because it works. So thanks for that, Tamara. That was awesome. We have a question for Reese.
Soluble and insoluble fiber. So insoluble fiber is fiber that does not break down. So something like corn, for example, you can chew and chew and chew it and you still see it come out the next day or a few days later if you're unlucky in your bowel movements. An example of soluble fiber would be something that moves into like a jelly-like state. So there's different gums that are available, like guar gum, acacia gum, that type of thing. Psyllium husk would be an insoluble fiber. It acts like a little scrub brush on the inside. Oats, which Michelle talked about at the top of the training, would be more of a soluble fiber. There's parts of it that are a little bit insoluble, but it gets all mushy as well. So do you have any other ones to add?
No, I think you laid them out really well. Cool. Yeah, really well. You want a variety of both. Okay. Mm-hmm. One's a scrub brush, the other one releases toxins. So here's the thing. I want you to add variety to your meals and make sure what you're putting in your body is actually real food. Okay, we want to get away from food-like substances. Okay, food-like substances is going to grow that belly fat, that extra organ that we talked about. Real food, the body knows exactly what to do with it. It doesn't know what to do with the other stuff. It knows what to do with real food. And then you're guaranteed not to overeat too, because you can't, it's really hard to overeat real food, like vegetables. Pretty hard. So I love that. You guys are really, really stepping up here. I love it. Yeah, I got my lucky charm here. So we're going to go back to the training and we're going to go to the next one. Solutions, right, Reese?
Yeah.
We've got another question. We'll get to it in a minute. Thank you so much. Okay. So here we're on number 7. Oh, enough sleep. Yeah. Here's the thing. We need to protect our sleep. We need to prioritize sleep more than anything. And a lot of people that actually come to me that have metabolic imbalances that want to, strip away the body fat, build the muscle, look and feel 10 years younger. One of the things that I notice they're not doing enough of is getting that good quality, and I mean deep sleep. I don't mean superficial sleep. There's 4 phases of sleep. We've got to make sure that we're getting that, again, because this is opening up the door to really melting the body fat, the belly fat so quickly you wouldn't believe it. Because again, not only are you going to burn more fat when you're sleeping, you are going to wake up with more energy. What happens when you have more energy? You exercise typically, don't you? You also tend to eat better because you are more inclined to, right? You have more motivation to eat better. Okay, it's not something quick and fast to lift up the energy. No, you start to think better. And what I mean by that is, if you're not sleeping well, you're actually activating part of your brain called the amygdala. And it's the back part of your brain. And that's the child. So you're actually lighting up. You're operating from the child's perspective. What does a child do? I want sugar. I don't want to go to the gym, right? I just want to have this. That's the child. So it's actually not you, it's the child. But if you get enough sleep, guess what? You're lighting up the front part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. What's that? That's the parent. So the parent's going to put the child back to the room and the parent is going to think ahead. You can think, oh, okay, yeah, if I have that sugar, it's going to drive belly fat. I'm not going to have that. I'm actually going to take my time to do meal prep. If you've been watching my stories, we do meal prep on the weekends and maybe sometime during the week. You're planning ahead. That's the parent. Okay, so that's what enough sleep will do for you. This is why when you practice getting that good sleep, everything tends to work better. Plus, you're not a grumpy bear to your partner, because that's not fun either. Right?
Yep.
Good.
No grumpy bears.
No, we don't want grumpy bears. Okay, so number 8, avoid trans fats. You've heard this before. I know you have, but listen, these are Franken fats. When you eat these dysregulated what is it? It's fatty acids that are on a glycerol molecule, whatever. I can't even remember all the terms on it. But what it is they're Franken fats. You eat these deranged fats that the body goes, what is this? Again, I don't know what to do with this. And then it raises inflammation, and that's what drives the belly fat. And guess what? Anytime you eat a fat that the genes are not expecting, you are going to wear that fat right around the belly. And so I really want you to really guard the type of fats that you put into your body. Make sure that they are more anti-inflammatory fats. What are they? Omega-3. Eat more omega-3, okay? What are omega-3 fats? Well, we know that fish and seafood are high in omega-3. We know grass-fed beef is high in omega-3. We know that if you don't eat meat, I'm okay with that. What about flax seeds? They're high in omega-3. So are chia seeds, okay? So are walnuts, all right? So these are omega-3. You can even take fish oil if you want. I don't like my clients to take fish oil. I actually want them to eat foods that have high omega-3 instead of taking something that could be perishable or rancid. So I'm not a fan of fish oil. I know you might be, but I'm just not. It's too perishable in my mind, which could lead to damage in the body. So we want to avoid the trans fats. We want to get into the healthy Mediterranean fats or the healthy anti-inflammatory fats, okay? And I'm happy to open up the lines to what are the good fats, what are the bad fats, but we can keep moving forward and then just keep that question going.
We also suggest that you stay away from seed oils as well,
Oh,
right?
yes.
So, we think of
Good
trans
one.
fats as margarine,
Mhm.
those type of hydrolyzed fats that have been changed from a regular good fat to a frankenfat, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But there's also all these seed oils. Canola would be one of the most prominent ones that are used that actually totally mess up your body. You're not able to think clearly. You're not able to have good hormonal function. All kinds of things are challenges when you're eating seed oils. So
We know what seed oils are: sunflower, safflower. Canola oil is dangerous. Grapeseed oil isn't good. We really need to be mindful of these to avoid them. They're too perishable, and they cause free radical damage, which then leads to inflammation, which then leads to belly fat.
corn oils. Yeah.
Corn oils, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just remembered, it's the fatty acids that are on a glycerol backbone. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, had to get that one out. So we're gonna get into now reduce stress. Here's the thing, oh my gosh, so many people come to me, they're just so stressed out. I think they live on a perpetual wheel. And what I like my clients to do is, first of all, recognize a lot of their issues are because they are so stressed. And so that's the first thing that we identify. And then we look at stress reducers. I'll share mine, and then Reese can maybe share what his is. I know for me, it is in the morning, I set the day for success. And if you've been following my stories or watching the feed or listening to any of my videos, I start the day with a journal. And those that are listening in haven't got their journals yet, I highly recommend you do this. It sounds so like, oh, what's a journal going to do? Oh yeah, it actually sets you up for a successful day, the day that you want to have, not the day that someone, because once you get up, most people want everything from you. And what do? We want to please everybody. Does that sound familiar? Well, what about yourself? Like, what about taking a little bit of time for yourself to do some self-care? That usually doesn't happen. So what I want you to do is, what I do anyways, I start the day with a journal and I map out how I want my day to go. How do I want to show up? Okay, what's the theme for the day? And so there are 2 journals I recommend that actually prompt you with certain questions, because you kind of don't really know, what do you write in a journal? Like, I wouldn't know. No, but the journal that I have gives me questions that I answer, okay? And so I start my day that way. And then what happens is, at the end of the day, I score myself. How did I do? Okay. I wanted to show up this way. I wanted to get these 3 things done. How did I do? And so this is when I practice digital detox. There's no electronics. And I go within and I go, okay, well, and I'm ruthless with myself. I compare, it's actually me against me. How did I do? So I first pat myself on the back with all the good things I did, because we need to also be good to ourselves and self-love ourselves. And then I look to go, well, what could I have done better? And I play a different movie in my mind. So next time I'm in that situation, I'm going to play the movie that's going to give me the result that I want. That's what I do. How about you?
I look at it. Life is a mental game. And so really it's how you look at life. Stress is not going to go away. There's all kinds of stresses. Way back to the dinosaur days, saber-toothed tiger chasing you. But we still have tigers chasing us. It can be marketing messages. It can be our phone. It can be notifications. It can be just all the bombardment of EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. There's all kinds of stresses that we eat and we drink and we breathe during the day as well. So there's a lot of things that we can't reduce, but there's ways that we can manage it. And so if we have a schedule that we are on where we don't fill up our schedule with too many to-do things, and we can even add more in at the end of the day if we wanted to, because we were able to manage the 3 or 4 things that we gave ourselves for the day. Exercise is super important to be able to use those big muscles in the body to relieve stress. And then, of course, get to bed early enough so that you're able to have a good sleep and sleep all the way through.
That's good. Can you shut the doors for me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So number 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, it's the alcohol conversation. So where do I sit with alcohol? Well, it depends. Like, if you're metabolically healthy and you really don't have any belly fat to lose, then you know what? Have your alcohol, 1 or 2 glasses, whatever. Ideally pick the best alcohols. I did a talk on this already. which are the best alcohols to have, which are low sugar and actually less toxic. But you know what? If you have belly fat, you're only going to drive the belly fat. So you need to make a decision. Do I, maybe take a break on the alcohol so I can scale back the belly fat? And then once I'm metabolically healthy, I can start to have some again. Because remember, it's not a life sentence. It's not like you can't have it or choose not to have it. You may want to kind of relook at how you're going to address that. Hey, the holidays are coming. I think it's really good to address it now and play the movie how you want it to go. All right. So that's my take on alcohol.
Where do I sit with alcohol? Usually in a nice comfy chair or walking along the beach.
Perfect. We do that, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, because we did the work to be able to do that though.
Yeah.
I gave up here's what I did to fix my body. I literally did this when I was diagnosed with osteoporosis. Okay. I took a serious look at what I was doing. Well, I was a sugaraholic. I would have licorice ice cream for dinner. I literally would do that because I don't know, it tasted good and it was awesome. And I went, well, if I keep doing this, where is my life going to go? I'm going to crumble up and be like this. I'll waste away. So for 1 full year, I gave up all sugar. That's fruit, all alcohol. And all I ate were just good carbs, which are vegetables, whole grains. I did eat those. Lots of protein and good fat. Guess what? I reversed osteoporosis, all natural. And I gave up chronic cardio and I got into weight training.
Yep.
And I hiked. I went out in nature and I visualized how I wanted my life to go. So I am not special at all. I'm not, but I didn't want to crumble up and just waste away because I wanted to enjoy my life. And I literally did the work. Now we're thriving. Like I feel amazing and I can have my alcohol. And I look at it like vitamin W because I have a good relationship with wine. It's about your relationship with alcohol. Is it a crutch? Is it something you have to have? How do you feel when you don't have it, right? Can you just have a little bit? These are all the things you need to look at when it comes to alcohol. For me, I look at it like vitamin W. And the type of wine that I have actually it has some beneficial properties, all right, with high in polyphenols and that kind of thing. That's the story I tell myself. But anyways, I don't have any other sugar other than that. So I really prioritize where I'm going to place this in my eating and drinking template.
Number 11,
intermittent fasting. So we're going to everyone needs to do this, I have to say. It's what our ancestors did. Did our ancestors eat all the time? No. Were they healthy? Yes, they were. So there were times they had famine and there was times they had feast. Well, we need to mimic this in today's society more than ever. Why? Because you are exposed to food. Everywhere you go, there's food. Okay. So you are basically, your willpower needs to be strong, right? Because you can have food anytime you want. You can actually have it delivered right to your door in like 10 minutes, whatever. That's how easy it is to eat more food than your body needs. So we need to know that this is happening in today's society. So how we're going to combat this is we're going to feed well and we're going to fast well. This is what I call it. In my programs that I provide for my clients, it's feed well, fast well. So we're going to fast well. What is fast well? You're going to practice your own fasting template, whatever that is. They're fasting, whatever we do for fasting. There's different ways of fasting. I've also done a talk on this as well. But I would highly recommend you start getting into that because that's the time that you're going to strip away the belly fat. Okay. And when you eat, you're going to get stronger. So this is how you get rid of belly fat forever. Anything on that?
I was just looking up the percentage of body fat for most USA citizens. It'd be very similar in Canada. They say it's somewhere around 50%, 49%, but other facts that we've seen are higher to 60, 65 and 70%. They say down in Mexico here that 75% of the adult population are obese or overweight. And part of the challenge is that Coca-Cola and a lot of the fast food folks have come in and it's new to the Mexican culture. And so they're quite intrigued with it. It's not unusual for us to see somebody having a Coca-Cola for breakfast instead of actual food. in some cases. In other cases, no, they're very, very good with food. So
Mm-hmm.
number 12.
I do want to point out it's 12% of the world's population is metabolically healthy. 12%. I said 12. That's just north of 10. That's not very many. So that means 78% of the population is metabolically unsound.
That's right.
That is a problem, okay? Because this is going to lead to so many, our children, I always think about them. What are they learning from us? We need to step up to, I'm going to put myself on the soapbox right now. We actually need to set the example. We need to put our hands up and go, listen, we're going to be the ones. We're going to be the ones that is going to set the example so that our children have a chance, okay? Because they really need us. We're the role models. So please, please, please step up to the plate for everyone. I have to say that. Yeah. Okay, so 12, dietary supplements. Okay, so they're supplementing a good diet. They are not taking the replace of a good diet. I have to start with that. And yes, of course, there are some supplements that will give you an unfair advantage. Abs, do you think I take them? Yes, I do. I have to say, I'm transparent with everything. I'm 55 and I'm, heading into menopause and things have shifted. And I still like to, have some of the goodies that I like. I eat really well. But I like to also, have a bit of wine. And I know that I need to, biohack that they call it. I need to take care of my liver. I need to take care of my blood sugar because that will be disrupted when I have my vitamin W. All right. So I do take some supplements to help balance my blood sugar and clear the liver. Why is that important? The liver is your metabolic engine. I'm letting you know right now. We all need to take care of that liver. The liver, when you clear the liver, you will find you will be able to burn the body fat so much easier and keep it off for life. So I'm always taking care of my liver. I'm always taking care of my blood sugar. Those are the two. And I've done, the detox that I put my clients on. I've done that as well. And so that's what I'm going to say about that. Anything you want to say?
No, we did have a question. One of the questions was a sweet potato, is it soluble or insoluble fiber? And it's a little bit of both, actually, is what it is. So when we think of potatoes, we think of white potatoes, and it's like white potatoes, white sugar, white bread, those are all the baddies. And the reason that the baddies is they've had all the, like white bread has had all the fiber taken out of it, right? So so that it doesn't go rancid, because the oils, the natural oils that were in there would go rancid after a while, and the bread would go bad. A sweet potato is better than a white potato in that it has soluble and insoluble fiber in it. So it acts a little bit like a scrub brush and a little bit like a bulking agent to soothe the digestive tract as well.
One thing about sweet potatoes is anytime I have them, I have really good bowel movements. And here's the thing, that is so key. You're getting rid of excess cholesterol. Not that cholesterol is bad, but you're actually getting rid of what your body doesn't need. And we need to be mindful of 1 to 3 good bowel movements a day. And if you have those, I'm letting you know right now, you're going to feel clean and you will feel lean, and you will actually get this flat tummy just by having regular bowel movements. So again, the fiber has a part to play. Not only that, water, hydration, that should have been on there. So we need to stay hydrated.
And just think about it, if you have 3 loads of food or 2 loads of food go into the chute up here, you have to have 2 or 3 come out of the chute at the other end, right?
I like that.
So if not, we end up with a coffee filter, which is on the inside the colon, that ends up getting impacted with more and more and more of that coffee, which is actually dead food that's just started to dry up and it never ever comes out of there. And now the nutrition, the good nutrition that's on the inside, has to be filtered from there through to the blood somehow. And so it's going through this dirty coffee filter. If you can imagine, you're just re-intoxicating yourself with all that literally crap that's inside your body. So get it out of there.
I love that. That's really good. Reese says it the way it is. It's good. I love it. Yeah, any other comments? We're just going to finish up here. And I want to thank you for all your time. You guys have been amazing. You've been here the whole time. Isn't that incredible? All 5 of you. And please share this also with your family members, your friends, because we all need to. Reese and I are on a mission to help more people get fit and healthy. And so we're actually creating a movement. And so we're actually really excited about this because more than ever, we need this, as you can see. So we're just going to finish it up here, but we are going to give some giveaways. So hang on tight for the last bit here because we have some giveaways. So I'm going to start with a question right now. I think it's really important for us to really think about, here's the thing, we get so caught up in our day-to-day. And there might be a time you'll look back and go, oh my gosh, like I wasted all those years. I wasted all those years. What was really meaningful to me? I wasn't really following what I wanted to do. Well, who do you want? What do you want to do? And who do you want to be? So this is what I came up with when I was struggling with osteoporosis. I did not want to be that person that had those weak bones. I wanted to be somebody strong and lean and healthy and more than what I was. And so that's why I turned it around. You can do the same. David turned it around. Let's look at David. Listen, he was on boatloads of medication. One of them I have to say, and he's happy for me to share this, by the way, because I've interviewed him a number of times with this incredible story. He's on protein pump. No, it was on hydrochloric acid. What was it? The protein pump inhibitors. Proton pump inhibitors. So he was stopping his stomach acid because he had acid reflux. That is, listen, you're stopping your body's ability to break down the protein that's going to build the muscle and get rid of the belly fat. So that is a crutch. It's not going to solve the problems. That's the first thing that I actually took him off. And then other medications as well down the road. But really, we need to be able to digest our healthy food, okay? David did it. He dropped over 60 pounds and he's kept it off. So just because David decided, and David came to someone like us, got a plan and followed the plan. Okay. And so now he's all happy for it, right? So you can too. And it's just, you need to decide. And if you need some help, this is where Risa and I come in. We actually have 9 clear steps that will help you get into your best body. That does mean stripping away the belly fat. That does mean getting that nice tone. And if you're 50 or 60, you can still do it. We're 55, he's almost 70. Listen, we can do this. Age does not matter. It's just the right plan with the right coaching. So we've got 9 steps, 1 step at a time, and we keep it super simple. So here is the thing. If you are still struggling and you need to get unstuck.
Or if you know of somebody that's struggling and needs to get unstuck.
That's true. Good point. I like that. Then we're offering a free call. A free call, and there's just, listen, we want to hear your story. We want to hear what you're doing now, where you want to go, so we can actually give you some tips right away to actually get you there. So that's what we're going to offer to you for free. All you need to do is just send a message to us saying, ready, we can set up a call, and we just start with that. Just a quick little call. We want to thank you so much for your time, and we're actually going to stop to see if usually there's questions at the end that we can answer. So here we have a comment from Tamara, very complete. Thank you for the information. Tamara, thank you so much for joining us. I always love it when you're on the calls. Any other comments or questions? We can wait a few minutes. We are very grateful that you're on the call. And we just want to, if you can help us create this movement of inviting more people into the group that want to get fit and healthy, okay, that are stuck and that want some, this is free live training. And we're happy to do it because here's the thing. The information out there is just misleading. And that's what got me on the wrong track because I was watching what we should be doing to build my bones. Well, I started to do that and I got worse. So it's not, the regular information out there is not about your health. It's actually about their pocketbook, okay? Because it's not working. 12% of the population is healthy, 12%. So clearly something's not working, okay? We have these foods available. We have the exercise. Why aren't we doing it? Okay, we're misled, right? And so I urge you, please bring more people. We would love to see your friends or family and more people on the fit and healthy path. So
Looks like everybody's got their questions answered.
Okay, so I'm going to get off my soapbox where I have a real mission. And I want to thank Reese for joining today and give him a hands up. A clap him up. We're going to see him next week. Yes. So I will see you next week. And this will all be recorded. So make sure you send it to your friends and family too, if that feels right. Okay. Ciao.
Ciao, Ming.